Well, the Roy Hill mine shows that the Hancock family can not just discover iron ore, but it can actually build a mine.
What we're looking at here is the drive station of the overland conveyor. So the overland conveyor starts over near that crane.
And Gina's great strength, where she'll get out of history, she took her dad's big dreams and made them big realities. She built the big mine. She financed the big mine. She made the dream come true.
So you can see our Port Marine is clearly ahead of schedule, getting really, really ready.
What people don't understand is how dependent Western Australia is on the mining industry and always has been. But this development of the iron ore industry, which was one of Lang's visions, took a very, very long time.
I know very well my father would have great feelings about what I've done. To finance this project has been the largest mainland mining resource financing project in the world. Dad knows how hard it is to build a company, to try and entice financiers to trust us to do the debt financing, and yet still be whatever to buy a whole lot of litigation. This is not the sort of thing Dad would be thrilled with.
First, a very public and bitter dispute between Australia's richest person, mining magnate Gina Rinehart, and her children has been resolved today in favour of the children.
Well, it is a dynastic story of Shakespearean proportions. It's an epic. And I guess it's an epic because of the quantum of money involved. Gina's turned into the wealthiest family company in Australia. On the other hand, it's also become the most disputed family company in Australia. And that's the pity of it.
Gina is the sixth generation Hancock in Australia. The Hancock dynasty story is a story, I think, of great passion and commitment, and also a lot of pain along the way. I think it's one of those great pioneering Australian stories.
Gina's a workaholic. It's not unusual for her to be working through the night, and very often, friends will receive emails from her at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I don't think I've had a typical working day. Nowadays, basically my hand is attached to the iPad. Do I have days off on the weekend? Pretty well no. That my hand and the iPad are just together. Yeah. Nobody likes the drop in iron ore prices.
What drives Gina is one of those mysteries to most of us. But she is one of those people who is desperately interested in doing the deals. So she is not the type who would just sit back and let the money roll in.
I think I better go.
The image that she has in the media is obviously as a very driven and overbearing person.
In fact, we've got a Facebook question. It's from Amelia Starbright. Why is Gina Rinehart so greedy? Let's throw that to David Marr.
Behind it all lies this towering ambition to fund in her own right to get up at this immense iron ore mine. And for that, she seems to be willing to appear as greedy as all get out. She's willing to appear brutally cruel to her own family. And so she goes.
Every time, a new news story breaks, there's usually something derogatory to say about her, about the family relationships.
But then I don't like her family very much either. I mean, they all deserve each other, in my view.
And it puzzles me why Australia doesn't take more pride in her achievement. The tenacity and determination that Gina demonstrates is no doubt part of her heritage. It's in her genes. Gina has an enormously strong connection with the Northwest. She sees the Northwest as being the lifeblood of her family dynasty.
It really helps me if I think back to what our first families up here went through. because, my goodness, they really had very tough times. It was a gentleman called John Hancock with his two sisters, Emma Withnell, who was a Hancock, and Fanny Hancock, and other members of the Withnell family. They came up in a very little boat, a wooden boat, called the Sea Ripple, and they had a few mishaps along the way, in particular a shipwreck, and they lost approximately half of all the supplies that saved up for half the livestock, half of a lot of their possessions that they were bringing with them. They didn't know where water was, but they did the trek approximately 17 miles inland to find where the water was fresh at a place they called Rogan. So they camped there, established the first town. Emma became rather famous. She was called Mother of the Northwest, which is a title she earned. She became an untrained midwife to others, the Aboriginals and others that came up. The family continued, and they became three Hancock brothers, running a station that they founded called Ashburton Downs. And last night, I was given from our station manager's daughter at Mulga Downs a wonderful branding iron that she picked up, H3B, and it was Hancock Three Brothers. One of those brothers was my grandfather, George Hancock. George Hancock ventured over to a property called Mulga Downs, wonderful property alongside the Hamersley Ranges, and then ultimately bought over the station with my father, Lang Hancock.
Well, it's 25 years now since I've interviewed Lang Hancock, and it still looms large. He still looms large in my memory. He came across to me as someone who probably hadn't changed very much in his life at all. He spoke about his time at school. He went to Hale School, which was one of the best schools in Perth at the time. He was academically quite capable, and Lang's father wanted him to go to university.
I'm afraid I disappointed him, because the moment I got away from school, I went straight to the land where I used to live.
Lang was impatient to get on with life, and so he went back to the station and then subsequently got involved in various mining operations. The first was Blue Asbestos mine at Wittenoom. It was at